Jack had always dreamed of leaving the noise and chaos of the city behind. After years of working long hours, surviving endless traffic jams and dealing with endless neighbor disputes, he wanted peace. A place where he could breathe, think, and feel alive again. When he finally bought a small cabin in the middle of a dense forest, he felt like he had taken the first step toward freedom. The cabin was simple, rustic, but comfortable, surrounded by tall pine trees and the quiet sounds of nature. It was exactly what he needed. On his first night, Jack slept with the window open, letting the cool breeze flow in. The moonlight danced across the wooden floors, and for the first time in years, he felt calm. But the peace he craved was about to be interrupted in a way he could never have imagined. The next morning, Jack decided to explore the surrounding land. The forest seemed endless, each tree taller than the last, casting long shadows on the soft earth. Birds sang high above, and the occasional rustle of leaves hinted at small animals moving nearby. He carried a backpack with water, snacks, and a small toolkit. His plan was simple: explore, enjoy the fresh air, and get to know his new home. While walking around the cabin, he noticed a strange part of the ground near the back porch. The earth seemed slightly sunken, like something was buried just beneath the surface. Curious, Jack knelt down and began to dig with his hands. At first he thought it might be an old root or a rock, but soon he uncovered a metal panel, rectangular and strange, covered in symbols he didn't recognize. Jack's heart pounded with excitement and fear. He had expected nature, not a mystery. With a bit of effort, he pried the panel open, revealing a ladder that descended into darkness. A cold draft brushed against his face. He hesitated. Should he go down? He wasn't sure what he would find, but curiosity got the better of him. Lighting a small flashlight, Jack climbed down the ladder. The air grew cooler as he descended, carrying the smell of metal and earth. When he reached the bottom, he froze. The chamber was large, far larger than he expected, and filled with strange shapes and objects. At first he thought it was an abandoned storage room, but then he noticed movement. A figure was lying on the floor, shrouded in shadows. Jack held his breath. The figure slowly moved, revealing a tall being, humanoid but unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with faint bioluminescent patterns like light tracing along her body. Her eyes were large, bright, and intelligent, reflecting both pain and determination. She wore armor that seemed alive, etched with symbols that glowed softly in the darkness. Jack's first instinct was fear. He had never seen an alien before, let alone a wounded one lying beneath his new cabin. But something in her eyes told him she was not immediately hostile. Slowly, carefully, he approached. Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice shaking slightly. The alien opened her eyes wider, as if surprised that he could speak her language. Or perhaps because she understood him in some strange way. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she watched him closely, judging him, trying to understand whether he was a threat. Jack noticed cuts and bruises along her arms, and her armor was dented in several places. She was clearly in pain. Without thinking, he reached into his backpack, pulled out a first aid kit, and knelt beside her. "I can help," he said. "I don't know what you are, but I can help." The alien hesitated for a moment, then allowed him to examine her injuries. She made small, quiet sounds like a mix of discomfort and relief, as Jack cleaned and bandaged her wounds. His hands shook, but he kept going, driven by a strange sense of duty. After a while, she slowly sat up. Jack stepped back, unsure what to expect. "My name is Lyra," she said finally, her voice melodic but firm. "I am far from home." Jack's eyes widened. "Lyra, you're an alien?" She nodded. "Yes, and I am being hunted. I escaped, but they followed me to this planet. I need help to repair my ship and leave before they find me again." Jack felt a mix of awe and fear. He had stumbled into something extraordinary. This was not just an alien. This was a warrior, a survivor, someone who had seen battles and worlds beyond his imagination. I don't know anything about spaceships," Jack admitted, feeling small in comparison, "but I can help you in other ways. I can gather supplies, watch for danger, do whatever you need." Lyra studied him, her bright eyes examining his every movement. Then she made an offer that made Jack's mind spin. "If you help me repair my ship, I will share knowledge with you. Knowledge of technologies your people have never dreamed of. Weapons, tools, and abilities that can protect your world," she said. Her voice was calm yet carried weight. "I am offering a partnership. Help me and you will see wonders that humans have never known." Jack felt his heart race. He was an ordinary man, not a soldier, not a genius, not a hero, but the offer was too tempting to refuse. He imagined what it would mean: knowledge beyond human science, the chance to protect his world, and the opportunity to be part of something far bigger than himself. I'll help, he said finally, his voice firm. Tell me what to do. Lyra nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. First, we must secure this place. I cannot allow them to track me here. Then we will gather the materials for my ship. Some of them can be found on this planet, others we must improvise. Over the next few days, Jack and Lyra worked tirelessly. Jack learned quickly, carrying tools, following instructions, and improvising when he could. Lyra, despite her injuries, trained him in combat techniques: how to move silently, how to defend himself, even how to think strategically like a warrior. Jack felt a strength within himself he had never known. He could fight, plan, and endure in ways he never imagined. Lyra also began teaching him about her culture and technology. Simple things at first: symbols, energy sources, and basic mechanics. Jack was amazed at how different her world was and how humans, despite their limitations, had unique strengths. He realized that his curiosity, adaptability, and determination were exactly what made humans unpredictable and formidable. One evening, as they sat near a small fire in the hidden chamber, Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. "You are not like the others I have encountered," she said softly. "Your species. You have a strength I have never seen. Not in muscle, not in speed, but in will. Humans fight in ways that no other beings can understand." Jack smiled, a little embarrassed. "I'm just trying to survive, I guess." Lyra shook her head. "No, you are doing more than surviving. You are awakening something in yourself. Something extraordinary." As night fell, they heard distant sounds: rustling leaves, the faint hum of engines. Jack's heart pounded. Could it be her pursuers? Lyra stood, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "We must be ready," she said. "I will not allow them to take me again. Not while you are here." Jack gripped a makeshift staff he had fashioned from the forest. His muscles were tired, but his mind was sharp. For the first time, he felt a surge of confidence. He would protect Lyra. He would survive. And together, they would face whatever came next. In that hidden chamber beneath his new cabin, a human and an alien warrior began a partnership that would change both their lives forever. Jack was no longer just a man seeking peace in the forest. He was a student, a fighter, and perhaps the key to something far greater than Earth had ever known. And Lyra, the alien warrior, knew that with Jack's help, she had a chance not only to survive, but to awaken a force in humans that no alien had ever witnessed before. The forest outside was quiet, but Jack and Lyra knew this calm would not last. Their adventure had only just begun. The days that followed were filled with preparation, learning, and tension. Jack and Lyra worked side by side, their partnership growing stronger with every challenge. Jack had never imagined that living in a quiet forest could turn into such an extraordinary adventure, but he was beginning to realize that humans had a resilience no alien had ever truly seen. Lyra's ship, hidden in the underground chamber beneath Jack's cabin, was a complex marvel of technology. Its panels shimmered with colors that shifted like liquid, and its systems seemed almost alive. Jack's human hands struggled at first, but under Lyra's careful guidance, he learned how to connect power conduits, patch energy circuits, and even calibrate the ship's navigation system. Every small success gave him confidence, and every failure taught him patience. "You are learning fast," Lyra said one evening as Jack finished connecting a delicate wire. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting the flickering light of the fire they had built to keep warm. "No other human has adapted this quickly. You may have a talent for survival that even I did not expect." Jack smiled, brushing sweat from his forehead. "I guess humans can be stubborn and maybe a little brave when it counts." Lyra tilted her head, observing him closely. "More than brave. You have strategy, creativity, and a will that does not bend. That is why I believe you can help me survive." Their routine was broken one night by a faint mechanical hum that reverberated through the forest. Jack froze, listening carefully. Lyra's eyes narrowed, and she quickly moved to the entrance of the chamber. "They have found the signal of my ship," she whispered. "We must be ready." Jack's pulse raced. He had imagined danger, but now it was real. They had prepared as best they could: traps around the cabin, improvised weapons from forest materials, and a few alien gadgets that Lyra had managed to activate. But he knew this could be their first real test. Suddenly, a group of shadowy figures appeared at the edge of the clearing above. Lyra's eyes glowed brightly as she assessed the threat. The intruders were small reconnaissance drones controlled remotely by her enemies. They moved with precision, scanning for heat signatures and energy signals. Jack gripped a wooden staff, feeling his muscles tense. "What do we do?" he asked. Lyra smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and confidence in her eyes. "Watch and learn." With incredible speed, Lyra activated a few small devices. Energy pulses emitted from the ship, creating illusions that confused the drones. Jack watched as the drones hesitated, their sensors unable to understand the shifting images. Then Lyra moved, striking with precision and disabling the drones one by one. Jack followed her lead, using his staff to block and redirect small attacks, surprising even himself with his own reflexes. After the skirmish, they paused to catch their breath. Jack's hands were scratched and his chest heaved with exertion. Lyra looked at him with admiration. "You are more than a human," she said softly. "You are a force that no alien could have predicted." Jack laughed, shaking his head. "I'm still me, just maybe a slightly stronger version." The next morning, they resumed work on the ship. Lyra had managed to bring several alien components online, but a critical part of the engine needed materials that could only be found far from the forest. Jack volunteered to go, knowing the journey would be dangerous. They traveled together under the cover of trees, avoiding any sign of human or alien interference. Jack marveled at Lyra's abilities, her speed, her perception, her strength. But he also realized that humans had their own unique advantage: creativity. When they reached a complex terrain of rocks and rivers, Lyra initially struggled to navigate the path without using her ship's systems. Jack suggested building a temporary bridge from fallen logs and vines. It worked perfectly. "You humans think in ways aliens do not," Lyra said, genuinely impressed. "You see solutions we overlook." Jack smiled, feeling proud. For the first time, he understood why Lyra had chosen him as a partner. It was not just his bravery. It was his ability to adapt, to create, to act when others might hesitate. By the time they returned to the cabin, the last component was ready. The ship hummed with life as Lyra connected it carefully. Jack assisted, following her instructions, his hands steady and confident. The chamber vibrated with energy as the ship's systems came online. It was beautiful, almost alive, shimmering with power and promise. That night the enemy returned. A larger team this time. Not drones, but beings in armored suits moving with deadly precision. Lyra and Jack had anticipated this, and the chamber was ready. Lyra handed Jack a small alien weapon, its shape unfamiliar but surprisingly intuitive. "Use this if you need," she said. "But remember what you have learned. Think, act, adapt." The battle began with a sudden burst of movement. Jack's heart pounded, but he moved instinctively, combining human agility with the training Lyra had given him. He dodged attacks, blocked strikes, and found openings to counter, all while using the alien weapon with surprising skill. Lyra fought beside him, her armor glowing, her strikes precise and powerful. Jack realized something remarkable. Humans were unpredictable. Aliens relied on speed, strength, or advanced technology. Humans had imagination. Every move Jack made, every choice he took, forced the enemies to adjust. And Lyra noticed it too. "They cannot anticipate you," she said mid-battle, her voice calm amidst chaos. "That is your strength. Your mind is a weapon no alien has ever seen." Together they fought with coordination that felt almost instinctive. Jack blocked a strike that would have hit Lyra, and she retaliated against the attackers with precise energy blasts. The invaders, expecting easy prey, were stunned by the human-alien partnership. Slowly they retreated, unable to predict the strategy and resilience of the two defenders. When the battle ended, Jack and Lyra stood in the quiet chamber, breathing heavily, but victorious. Jack looked at Lyra, realizing he had grown in ways he never imagined. He was no longer just a man seeking peace. He was a warrior, a thinker, a protector. And Lyra, seeing his potential, finally understood the full strength of humans. "You are extraordinary," Lyra said softly. "I have seen many species, many warriors, but you awaken a strength that no alien has ever witnessed." Jack smiled, feeling proud but humble. "I only did what I had to, and I had a great teacher," Lyra nodded. "And together we will go further. We will leave this planet, face the challenges of the stars, and show what humans and allies can achieve. The next day, they prepared for departure. Jack climbed into the cockpit beside Lyra, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The controls were unlike anything he had touched before, but Lyra guided him patiently, explaining the basics of navigation and ship systems. As the ship lifted from the underground chamber, the forest below shrinking into the distance, Jack felt an incredible sense of freedom. He was leaving Earth, leaving the quiet life he had sought, but stepping into a universe full of possibilities, danger, and adventure. Lyra looked at him, her bioluminescent markings glowing brightly. "Humans have a power no alien truly understands," she said. "Courage, ingenuity, determination, and the will to fight even when the odds are impossible. You have awakened that strength, Jack. Together we will go further than any being has ever imagined." Jack gripped the controls, his heart filled with determination. He was no longer an ordinary man. He was a human capable of extraordinary things, standing beside an alien warrior, ready to face whatever challenges the universe would throw at them. As the stars stretched before them, Jack realized that this was only the beginning. Humanity had a strength that could surprise even the most advanced civilizations, and he had just begun to understand what it meant to truly be human and unstoppable. Beneath his calm exterior, a new confidence burned. He had found purpose, friendship, and a challenge worthy of his courage. And as Lyra guided the ship toward the unknown, Jack felt certain of one thing: humans were not just survivors. They were a force that could change the galaxy. And together, a human and an alien warrior would face the universe, side by side, unstoppable, unbreakable, and full of promise.